Hello, my stamping friends. Today I want to share this fun card with the Thankful Garden stamp set and dies and masks and paper. It's a whole suite of products and they are really lovely, so I thought I would share them with you. We used these products at Stamp Camp this weekend and I always cut a few extras, so when I get home I make a video with them. So this is what we made and I want to share with you the fun masks that we use. And I just thought this is a really beautiful stamp set. So when I purchased it because I love large stamps. In fact, these images are bigger. You can see that the hydrangea is bigger than the image on the front. They're large stamps, great for coloring techniques. So if you're into coloring techniques like watercolor, colored pencil, stamping, alcohol markers, all of it, this is a great stamp set for you. And if you don't want to do that type of coloring that's more detail oriented, you can use the decorative masks, which are simple but fun. So we're going to do that today, and let me grab the stamps we're going to use. I'm going to use the giant hydrangea and the Thankful for You friend. I'm doing a MOPS group tomorrow night. I've never done that before. So we're going to see how that goes, and I'm going to bring some cards to hand out. And I don't have MOPS stands for Mothers of Preschoolers. I am not the, I don't have a preschooler anymore. I'm the entertainment. So I'm going to have some pre-made cards to hand out, and then we're going to make a project. But anyway, that's why I'm going to make these all up. So I cut a bunch extra so that I could do that. All right, where are my little kits? Oh, they were right here. Here they are. Okay, so I am using a basic black card base for this one. And you know, I don't know if you saw my video on the virtual scrapbooking retreat that happened last week. And this was part of the paper collection from that retreat. I didn't realize that at the time. I thought it was this paper just for the retreat, but then as I was looking through this and I was talking to my friend Julia, she's like, no, the paper is in here. There was a couple that were not anywhere else, but most of the paper was in here, and I just want to show you the paper because it is really pretty. I love that there are black and white elements, like this fun check here, this kind of plaid, a stripe, and then there's another black and white that's a leaf here, this one. And then there's these florals, and my favorite has to be, I love this one with the black background, and the flowers just really pop right off of that. But I also love this green. I am a green person, so I love this green pattern, and I would like to have this in some kind of an outfit. So anyway, I really like the patterns. There was another one. Let's see. There's a green check, which I also really love. There's a green leaf. Oh, here's a cute little floral. Anyway, they're really pretty papers. This is really nice with the blue background. I think that's all of them. Oh, and then there's this white background version as well. And then there was another pattern, but I've used most of it up. It's this one with the green and this pretty little fresh freesia background. So these are kind of pretty little papers, and I just love them. But I love those pops of black and white. So I wanted to have a black card. That's our base. And so this is just scored down the center at 4 1/4, and then 8 1/2. Scored at 4 1/4, and this was a sheet of cardstock, so it was 8 1/2 by 11, and then cut at 5 1/2. So that's your base. And then I cut a piece of basic white for the inside whenever I use a dark card. Actually, I pretty much always put a white base inside. You don't have to with a lighter colored card, but I like it. I think it kind of adds a nice little framed writing surface area. So that is our inside. I'm going to put that aside. And then this piece is actually just kind of a scrap. Not really, it's I cut them because this is a big image, and I just cut it big enough to stamp the hydrangea. So that's what this piece is. And then I have another piece of basic black, and that is so that I could I wanted to put something behind the hydrangea besides this patchwork pattern that I've got going on, because that's a lot to look at, and so I wanted something underneath it, and that's what this piece is. And I will give you the dimensions. I don't know them anymore because I made these last week. 3 by 4. 3 by 4, which means this is 2 3/4 by 3 3/4 because I made it a 1/4 inch smaller on all sides. And we're going to do a little sponging on there. And then we have some fun little pieces of our patterned paper, and I went with this really pretty blue floral, And this is 1.5 inches, I believe, yes, 1.5 inches by 5 1/4, which is going to give us a nice border around it. So 1.5 inches by 5 1/4. This is just a little scrap. Whenever I cut all this cardstock, sometimes you end up with these little skinny scraps, and I save them, and I'm going to put it on the inside of my card, just so there's a little something something on the inside too. So I'm just going to set that aside. And then these two are going to stack over here. Now I wanted to, this back pattern is so beautiful, but I wanted there to be just a pattern, a small pattern of black and white to kind of be behind the hydrangea, because that's already got a lot going on. So that's going to be here. And then this one goes here, and I should tell you how big these are. This is 2.5 by 3, and then that means this is also 2.5, but it's only 2 1/4, not quite a square. So 2 1/4 by 2.5, and then this is 2.5 by 3. So this is how they lay out, and I'm going to go ahead and glue those down so I don't have to think about them anymore. So let me find my adhesive. There it is. And I like to start on the inside edge. Now, see, the back on this one has a nice little black and white dot. The black and whites are so nice. All right, remember now there's a score line here, so I'm going to fold it because you probably can't see the score line. But when you put these down, you want to have a little bit of a, like a border all the way around. So I've got this little black border all the way around. All right, and then I'm going to put down, actually I wanted this to be the green side because I love the green. It's hard to choose. Some people at Stamp Camp chose the opposite sides that I did, and that's okay. They can make it their own. I like this because it's kind of a solid color, but not quite. It's got that pattern in there. So it's a little patchwork of patterns, and then we've got our black and white. All right. Gonna put that right up next to that one, and that is our background all done. Now, of course, you can change the dimensions of these to fit some scraps you might have in your pile of scraps. It's kind of nice to do with all kinds of, you don't have to even use the same papers. You can make any kind of thing you want going on here. It's really pretty. We did, at the virtual retreat, we did a lot of kind of patchworking, quilting looking scrapbook pages. So, and it was with these papers, so I think that's where my inspiration is coming from today. Okay, so let's do our stamping. And then I'm going to get out the sponges. Let me grab my inks real quick. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this large hydrangea on some basic white. It's a big stamp, so I'm kind of moving it around this way. Okay, and now we're going to color them in, and we're going to color them with those decorative masks. Now there's some tricks to the decorative masks. I want to show you those. Okay, so there's 2 masks for the leaves, and you have a mask for the hydrangea and a mask for the other flower, which I don't know what it is. You tell me. Is it a wild rose? I don't know. It's pretty. So you've got a mask for both of these stamped images, and we're going to use the hydrangea one. And then there are 3 masks for the flowers, and we're going to use all 3. Okay, so here is how you use these masks. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some washi tape, and I'm going to tape down my hydrangea image so that it doesn't move around as I'm using the brushes. And then I'm going to start with the mask number 1. Now they are numbered. It's kind of like etched into this plastic, so it's hard to see, but it is on there. And so, and I happen to know that the right side up is with the notch pointing towards the right. So that's how I was able to just throw this down really fast. And then you kind of line up your image. I've done this so many times, I can line it up pretty quickly. And then stick down your mask so that it doesn't move. And then while you've got everything stuck down, go ahead and grab a pencil or a pen. I happen to have a pen sitting right here, so I'm going to do that. And just mark that notch that's right there. Okay, now you can do this a lot of different ways, but I thought a fun way to do it is to just use one color, and you'll see that by layering them, even though I'm only using one color, I'm going to get a lot of different values. So now you can do it differently. You can put a light color underneath, maybe a bubble bath or something, and then put fresh freesia on top. However, at Stamp Camp, it's sometimes easier to not bring so many different things, and I tried just one color and it worked great. So I'm going to show you. You just kind of pick up some ink. I start off at the side and just kind of work my way around the hydrangea. All right, that's layer number one. Now it'll, oops, make sure this doesn't move. Got it taped down. I'm going to go for layer number two. So I'm going to look for the two. Whoa. I didn't take my washi off from it. Stamp Camp. Okay, so this is layer number two. And now I'm just going to put it on that notch. Hoping that I didn't move anything. Looks like I didn't, so I've got it right on that notch. Ooh, right there. Okay. And I'm going to stick it down. And this time I'm going to put another layer of the same color right on top. So I'm going to put some fresh freesia on my blending brush, and then I am going to come in and do the same thing. Okay, so now I've got two layers, and so, oh, I almost tried to take it off the table. I don't want to do that. So you can see I've got lights and dark highlights here, and now there's one more layer, layer three. It's going to go on top, and we're going to give it even more detail, this time with the heaviest hand we can on our ink. So let's put it down in that notch. There we go. All right, and I think we had quite a few people at Stamp Camp, so I should probably re-ink my ink pad to get deeper color, but I'm gonna see what I can do with this. Okay, so now I'm putting another third layer on mask number three. Okay, now I'm gonna kind of just peek and see if I got enough color. I did. Okay, so there we go. So that is mask number three. Now we can move on to the green. So, but actually, I wanted to put a little bit of fresh freesia behind the flower, and I lost the little piece I was going to do that on. I moved it out of the way, and now what did I do with it? I'm just going to take one from another kit. I'll find it in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to take some of this and go behind, just to give a little bit of fresh freesia behind. Okay, all right, we're done with fresh freesia. So let's move on to our green. So this is garden green. I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to grab another brush. Okay, and again, the notch is still there. So I'm going to put this in the notch. And hope I didn't move anything too badly. There we go. So now we're going to do the same thing, but with garden green. I am going to, now garden green is juicy. So I'm going to kind of go lighter than I did on the others. I forgot how juicy this was. So it's already dark. Forgot about that. Okay, and then let's see if I can get it even darker on the next layer. Even though that was, oops, I moved it. There we go. first layer was pretty dark, so I'm not sure how much variation we'll get, but we'll see. We'll give it a little bit more. I still did get some variation. Okay, so even though I just used one shade of green and one shade of fresh freesia, I was able to get multiple layers, so that's really fun. Okay, so now there is a die to cut this out, which is awesome. I love when there's a die. Makes my life easier. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, and I'll be right back. Okay, and I'm going to just put this right on top. Now I don't see any of my sponge because it was all in the center. So, or blending, not sponging. So I'm going to add a little more. I just want it to be soft underneath there. Okay, now I can attach. So I'm going to go ahead and put these down, and I'm going to use some dimensionals to give the hydrangea some height. So this is going to just go down in the center, and it's going to go right on top of our card. Oh, see, there's the other part. It's going to go right on top here. Now you can add a dimension to this too if you want, and I do want, so I'm going to add some dimensionals. And all I have, oh, here's some big ones, yay. Now I am pretty skimpy with my dimensionals, and at the virtual scrapbooking retreat, one of the ladies who was doing the demonstration, she was super nice, but man did she put on the dimensionals. It was crazy. Okay, I mean, I guess it looks really nice though. All right, so I'm gonna do this. And then I'm going to put on some bling. I'm going to show you the bling. It's really pretty. Okay. And then I have some embossing to do too. So I'm going to go like, I'm just going to center it right there. And then that way it's got this nice little background to kind of set it on. It'd be really pretty if you added some Wink of Stella to there too. Maybe I'll do something like that. And now remember I told you about this scrap. This is just going to go on the inside. So I am just going to attach it like so. Okay, and sometimes I put it all the way at the bottom, sometimes I give it a little stripe. Oh, I got ink on there. So I'll have to, you can kind of play with how you want that. Go. That's your inside. And then the bling. Oh, and I need a sentiment. Okay, here's my bling. These are called Starburst Sequins, and they are in the fresh freesia. So I'm going to go ahead and put them, but actually I need to put one down here, but I'm going to wait until my embossing because I don't know where it's going to go yet. So I should have done that first. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So for the embossing, I just have some scraps here, and I'm going to use the Thankful For You Friend. And I think embossing always looks wonderful on a card. I just got a new Versamark pad. It's beautiful. My other ones were so old, and they had so many colors on them. Okay, I mean, they still work, so I didn't really need a new one, but I might as well. All right, and my embossing tray is not here because I accidentally left it in my classroom, which is really irritating. So I'm gonna just grab a piece of cardstock. Now what I forgot to do, so we'll see how this works, is I forgot to use the embossing buddy, which is a little chalk pillow, and you use it to get static off your card so that you've got a really nice surface for which to put this powder on, which is very sticky, like it wants to cling, see? So had I used my embossing buddy, I probably wouldn't have this little extra stuff there. I'm going to see if I can get it off with a brush. Otherwise, I will flip this over and do. This is what the little pillow looks like, and it actually does do a nice job. All right, let's heat this up. Okay, so I've got it all nicely done. Now I will give you another little tip. If you have it like this, and sometimes there's an area, because I didn't do a great job with my embossing and I didn't use my embossing buddy, I have some areas that are not wonderful, and you can take a white gel pen and kind of hide that by just going over that area. So I'll show you what I mean. I have a little white gel pen. Stampin' Up used to sell these. They don't anymore. I don't know what brand this one is. How about that? I don't think I've used this one before. It still has the protective cap on it. Okay. I'm just gonna go like this and just touch up that little T that didn't quite make it. And now he looks better. And this K. Just kind of cleans up the edges. Ah, okay. I have not used that one before. All right. Now, I did cut this out. There is not a die for the words, but I thought it would be fun. I didn't want to cover up as much of my card on this one. So I actually cut it out. And here's the tip here, is to not overthink it. When you do get dies, just remember, they don't go in so far and out. They just kind of give you a nice little outline. So I am going to just dip down by the Y and come back up and just kind of give it a little, I'm trying to be kind of organic. I go around the D. So try not to make yourself crazy with this, because I think the more just flowy and organic you can go, the better it's gonna look. If you try to go into every valley of the U, for example, and all of that, I don't think the dies would have done that. You know, I think the dies would have kind of just cut a nice little shape. You also want to avoid really sharp corners. So make the dips more flowy and not like harsh, sharp corners. So I'm just kind of being flowy. I don't know if my words make any sense. Flowy. Rounded is what I mean. Okay, so there. So I tried to avoid any harsh corners. So like my corners are rounded and all of my lines just kind of flow. All right, so I'm gonna stick this right here with some dimensionals. I love cutting up my dimensionals. So I have this like little area right here I want to go in on the other side of the stem, just to give it a little stability. And I want some white to show underneath that, so I went too low. There we go. All right, so I was thinking of putting one of these next to the words, but I didn't have as much space on that, so I'm going to stick it up here. I just want there to be something on this side. I just need one just to bring it over a little bit like that. And I could do another one down there if I think about it, but I think I'm going to leave it like that. Okay, so this is my card with Thankful Garden. I hope you enjoyed it. I love the blending brushes and those decorative masks. So fun. And you've got a couple different flowers, and you can do these in so many different colors and mix up your colors, and very pretty. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Catch you next time. Bye.